I found this fascinating. This is what I was kind of have found fascinating about you, is the importance of the title of your films. And we were talking at dinner about Dragon Fist.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
I've been working in China recently, and I'm going to be doing a martial arts picture in Guangzhou, which is one of the major cities in China, where they have a wonderful set of an old imperial palace, and I'm going to do a martial arts film there in January. And my original title was Dragon Fist, but it turns out there was a Dragon Fist done a few years ago. So while we were having dinner before we came here, we were throwing titles around, and one of them might be Fist of the Dragon. I want to get the word fist in there somewhere.
It's very important. So Roger, also what I've always found fascinating about you is that you seem to have had this, as a distributor through New World, you distributed a lot of the great foreign filmmakers like Fellini and Kurosawa. I'm always a bit curious about your personal taste in film versus necessarily the kind of films you're known for making. What kind of films do you love to watch personally?
I like all types of films. I think one of the great things in the word film is maybe yesterday's news. As we all know, we're moving towards digital. I don't know what you will call a film festival or a film school when everybody's shooting on digital, which will be, I think, very quickly. I think more than 50% of the films made today are digital, and within a year or two, I think 100% will be digital.
And I know that The Intruder is almost like an art film. Was that sort of your art film, do you think?
It was more or less. It got wonderful reviews. It won a couple of, frankly, minor film festivals. One of the New York newspapers, it'll take me a moment to remember, said, The Intruder is a major credit to the entire American film industry. It was the first film I ever made that lost money.
And I love that. Who changed the title to I Hate Your Guts? Who did that?
That was a brief aberration from a southern distributor who knew the film had not done well at the box office and told me that he had a way to turn it into a box office success. That title was withdrawn within a couple of weeks.
So I believe also, is this true that New World Pictures actually for a period of time won more Academy Awards for foreign language films than any of the other major distributors?
I can add to that, to all of the other distributors combined over, I think it was about a 7 or 8 year period. We were distributing for Fellini, Bergman, Truffaut, Kurosawa, Booker Schlondorf, who was the first German to win Best Academy Award for Best Foreign Film. So for a brief period of time, we were looking very good there.
Yeah, that's great. In terms of titles and ad campaigns, how true is that? How much truth is there to that idea that you come up with ad campaigns first, titles first, posters first, before the actual film?
There's a little bit of truth to that. Occasionally, I will come up with the title first, but generally it's the concept, and we've been known to change titles 2 or 3 times during production or even distribution. I did a picture called Cockfighter, which was a very good film, got very good reviews, and I thought I was really onto something because nobody had ever made a picture about cockfighting before. When I saw the grosses, the title changed to, I think, Born to Kill.
That was the great Warren Oates was in that film.
Warren Oates.
Yeah, you should see that if you haven't seen that. So, do you feel like Hollywood was threatened by your success that you had early on? Because they ended up sort of taking a lot of what you did so well and sort of turning it into big budget exploitation films. Do you think they were scared of what you were doing?
No, I don't think I was that important. But what happened was a number of the directors and producers who grew up seeing my films and those of my contemporaries and compatriots liked those films, and when they got the chance, made similar films on big budgets. Two specifically were very important. First, Jaws, and second, Star Wars, both of which were, a matter of fact, when Jaws came out, Vincent Canby, the lead critic of the New York Times, said, "What is Jaws but a big budget Roger Corman film?" He was partially correct. It was a big budget Roger Corman film, but more importantly, it was better. When I saw that film, I knew that I and my compatriots were going to be in some difficulty.
We saw in the film stuff about the trip, the movie, and your connection to Peter Fonda. I was always kind of curious, were you pro-drug? Were you anti-drug? What was the statement that you were making in those films?
I was probably slightly pro-drug, but I was trying to make a film that would be as neutral as possible. My problem was when I did the trip, as a conscientious director, I took an LSD trip, and my trip was magnificent. So I had to talk to other people. The picture was actually written by Jack Nicholson before he became a star. He was a good friend of mine, a very good writer who had experience with LSD. As a matter of fact, almost everybody in the film did. So we were having discussions while we were shooting where Peter and Dennis and Jack were all throwing in ideas, and finally I said, whose trip is this picture about? And we finally decided it was a joint trip of all of us.
I like to dispel these rumors because I've always heard this story about how you were sued for defamation of character by the Hells Angels. Is that correct?
I did a picture of the Wild Angels, which was the first of the Hells Angels film, and I used the Venice chapter of the Hells Angels in the picture. And when the picture came out, they sued me for defamation of character, and I remember the TV announcer who started laughing when we read about it on television, and their statement was I had portrayed them as an outlaw motorcycle gang, whereas in reality they were a society dedicated to spreading technical information about motorcycles.
And to just delve a little further into that, did they threaten your livelihood?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they said they were gonna kill me. They were gonna snuff me out. Now, Big Otto Friedley, who was the president of the Angels, called me on the phone and said, "Hey, man, we're gonna snuff you out." And I said, "Otto, think about this logically. You're suing me for $1 million for defamation of character. You've also announced that you're going to snuff me out. Now, if I slip and die in the bathtub, the police are going to come after you. My advice to you is forget the momentary pleasure of snuffing me out and go for the $1 million. And Otto perfectly logically said, "You're right, man, that's what we're going to do."
So you're on pretty good terms with the Hells Angels now, I guess.
As a matter of fact, there's been a recent picture they made, they want me to narrate it.